Hey Legionnaires, and welcome back to the world of the Napoleonic Wars. We're here with some more NTW3 action for you today, as we have some more glorious musket and bayonet action, as we have 4 French armies here getting stuck into the new map here of the map of Gaillard. We have 3 English armies, or I should say British armies at this one, and they are going to be joined by a Russian army. So we have an Anglo-Russian alliance here, and they are up against 4 French armies. We do have Russia Center, we have the 10-point Spanish campaign, we have 1799 Rhine, and we have also Russia North in this one, so like the tiny little 6-pointer as well, which is usually made up of a lot of crap, if I remember. Then we have UK Portugal twice for the Brits. We have UK Netherlands, and then we have the 1814 Russia as well. So if I have my maths right, 4 9s, we have 36 points is the number we have here today. So it should be a very, very interesting one, that's for sure. It'd be interesting to see whether how a 6-point gets used in this game. I mean, it's obviously going to be very much a support one, as like France has got some 10-pointers, and I think even maybe an 11-pointer. Yeah, Russia centers 11 points. So, you know, they're having to, you know, they're taking extra points elsewhere, which has meant that this 6-pointer is going to have to play very much more a support role. It can't really go up against a British army or a Russian army on its own. I've been told this is a amazing battle, one of the closest this player has like played, and it's on a new map as well. Like I said, we're playing on the new Gaillard map. It's a very flat map. We did cover it on the stream the other night, and yeah, I was playing on it, and I definitely realized that you need to bring more artillery. I was lucky in the sense that my opponent kind of lost his artillery pretty quickly, but yeah, definitely is one for multiple gun units to have, that's for sure. You definitely need multiple artillery units because there's just, yeah, it's flat ground, you can't miss anything. There was a Russian cav that just disappeared around about here, which I feel like 1811 is not caring about. They have not turned any cav around to investigate that. They definitely got some, maybe not the cuirassiers, but some lancers maybe, or yeah, some of these lancers might have to turn around, or even they haven't even got really any light cav actually, which is probably why they can't see it. They got Westphalian cav, like Westphalian cuirassiers, we have Polish cuirassiers, we have Guard du Corps Saxons, which technically, yeah, I was going to say a C2 there, a heavy cav as well. Lots of heavy cav. We've got C4 like lancers here. These guys are probably the best to being like a light cav that can maybe go out and scout. His army is tiny when it comes to infantry as well, I'd say. Really, lots of light infantry by the looks of it. He's going to go for a really like a shooting build, lots of Laguerre. Yeah, it looks like it's all really Laguerre. He's really going to try and shoot his way through, which is the strategy now. You can't really melee your way through anything. So France really can't rely on its melee ability, and cav is not really that great. It's, I guess, probably really good now just for taking out artillery, or maybe skirmishers or generals, or just for scouting and screening your opponents, or like your own army, to just keep your own army hidden from your opponents. So yeah, that's kind of all really it's for now. You can see chasseurs here taking 3 shots. Looks like over on the seat we've got some provisional chasseurs doing a bit of screening. You know, having a look at this cav, and there is a lot of British cav over here. I mean, it looks like we've got some allied hussars of some sort there. Looks like some more like allied lancers. We have got heavy dragoons here as well. All of the dragoons, but the heavy cav really looks like more like sort of like light cav there. And here we go. France has been caught out. Looks like Britain's going to get in with, looks like some light dragoons here. They're going to get these hussars. And that should be a one-way ticket to the end of the red line for that French cav. They're probably going to rout. Maybe not. Is he going to be lucky and get out of there? He is lucky. I mean, I'm imagining this British cav should really catch up with them. Looks like the provisional chasseurs cheval are also going to retreat. French cav there is a horse artillery. That needs to get the heck out of dodge as well. That needs to limber up and quick, because there's British cav on the way, and I think they're going to try and run that down. France might be forced into a cav fight here if he wants to defend his artillery. And it looks like he's going to be good doing that, maybe, potentially, yeah. We'll see. This artillery is getting quite lucky with how quickly he's being able to limber up. They need to limber up quickly, fellas. Yeah, here comes the British cav. And that could be, yeah, they're going to be lucky there. And I think there is just more French cav on the way, as you can see. It also looks like artillery, supporting artillery is helping to shell the Brits there. And that just about saved that horse artillery. And that was lucky, that is for sure. But yeah, early start to this one, but already, yeah, some interesting moves being done. The key fights are going to be over this townhouse, I imagine. Here it's armory in the middle. And I imagine, yeah, I mean, you can see the walls that go around it. It's almost a fortress in itself here. So that's going to be a really interesting sort of battle, and see how they fight over that. Looks like the French are going to try and outshoot the Russians. It's probably not a bad idea. The Russians will probably still want melee. I don't know what their firing stats are going to be like. If they've been improved, probably not. And Russia, yeah, is pretty pitiful at shooting. France could definitely try and outgun them. That's for sure. Obviously, Britain, though, you know, they're going to be, I think, like a very popular coalition faction to bring, because, yeah, shooting is the new sort of strategy now in NTW3, I've been told. So, yeah, Britain, you're going to see a lot more often, I think, at certainly custom battles. So it's going to be certainly interesting to see how France negotiates around that. Looks like they're bringing a lot of, sort of like large chaff sort of units, like these 197-man units, maybe just to try and use almost as sort of like cannon fodder in a way. I mean, 186. Yeah, these units are going to take a while to get through with guns. That's like with muskets, that's for sure. Same over here, really, like the Spanish campaign, bringing a lot of these like Guard Civil units as well, big 200, nearly 300-man units here. So yeah, they're just going to have to use those as sort of like cannon fodder, almost as like a screen for them, maybe more elite infantry to try and get into melee, or maybe just to try and you know, have some cover for the more elite infantry, just to use later on in the game, potentially, once these Guard Civil have just sort of withered down the British lines. But yes, if you're enjoying NTW3 and want to see some more Napoleonic action, do remember to leave a like, subscribe if you're new around here, and a comment to show your support. It really does help out the channel as we work towards 11k subs. And if you've got any glorious NTW3 replays you want to have sent in yourself, then feel free to send them into my Discord. The link is, as always, down in the description of this video. And it's the best place to send in your replays if you want to have them covered and have your name lit up in the starlight of YouTube. But yes, as you can see here, we have got Les Barons, a 7th Leger here, a squareable unit, and they're being pushed forward quite aggressively. I think maybe just whether the scout or whether just a bait in the Russians, I don't know. But here goes Franz. He's going in with some Polish Lancers. He's going in against the Dragoon unit on a charge. As I say, the Lancers do very nicely out there. They might rout that Dragoon, but they're going to get charged themselves. Looks like some light cav of the Russians here. And it looks like France is going to come out that victorious. He's routed 2 Russian cav units there early on. He's still green line. Yeah, these Polish Lancers proving they're some of the best in the business at being a Lancer. And it looks like the Garde du Corps pushing forward as well. The heavy cav is going to do very well if it can to really catch up. Really, I would say these Polish Lancers maybe want to clash with this unit here and then try and get the Garde du Corps just to catch up. But yeah, these guys might be pretty spent. They're already winded. I don't know, that might be okay. These look like they might be decent hussars, though, for the Russians. And yeah, they've been routed of those Lancers. You can see the Garde du Corps would maybe attempting to make a rush for it, but they're not going to. This could be the risk, though, for the Russians, is if they spend their light cavalry quickly, they're just going to have a very slow-moving heavy cav that's going to be easy to pick off with infantry and just be easy to just dodge around. Looks like the Dragoons might have re-rallied. But, you know, once you've routed once, the unit's never usually as useful the second time round. Russia also already getting into a bit of a line fight. France losing slightly, actually, apparently, according to... You just, like, hover over the unit. Apparently so. This one's winning. Losing slightly. I'm just kind of surprised by that. I would have thought reloading skill and also sort of accuracy that these French will eventually win, but maybe not. Maybe these Russians are decent at shooting as well. They could potentially be. Russia doesn't seem to have bought a large infantry army, at least what we can see so far. Looks like also like Britain, one of the Anglo-Portuguese armies is starting to arrive here to maybe replace Russia. I mean, if I was to put Russia anywhere, I'd put him slap bang in the middle, up against this 6-pointer if possible, and have him defend his house. Let him melee if he can, like force the French to actually come into melee in some instances. Looks like over here, looks like a French infantry unit for the 6-point Russian North. Looks like they're going to be dueling up against the Portuguese. Can't obviously go through this wall. It is, like, you know, solid. So these French are going to be forced to line fight if they want to. So the Swiss infantry here, they can square. Looks like I think it's a Spanish campaign and also 1799 really stacking up on the side here. So you can see they're trying to maybe isolate. Looks like the UK Netherlands. Certainly an entire British army looks like they're very much centered around this house. I think they're expecting a French army to come from here. And if they are, I mean, I think they should really be setting stuff elsewhere now, because they should realize which French army it is that's attacking. It's a 6-pointer, and they shouldn't stay here. They need to go elsewhere. maybe support, which might be why we see a lot of British troops already shifting down here, actually. So maybe I've criticised the British player too quickly. Maybe he looks like he might have already sent troops in that direction, or at least a British player has. But yeah, certainly an Anglo-Portuguese army is situated on this in the centre, and maybe potentially a bit on the left as well. We can't quite see it all. It's the fog of war, and it looks like Chasseur Cheval just been routed. I think that's might be from friendly fire. I don't know if they were stood in front of those guns, or just from enemy artillery. They've just been eventually routed after being chipped away. France doesn't look like it's really wanting to shape up for a cav fight. I don't think they'd win it anyway. I think the coalition cav looks a lot better on paper. I mean, these British light dragoons are pretty solid quite often, and it looks like, I don't know if they're all British light dragoons. That one's certainly this Portuguese unit. And actually that one might be a Portuguese unit as well. They're just dressed like British light dragoons. That also looks like a Portuguese unit as well, Portuguese cav. This is definitely British heavies. They are obviously going to be a problem. This looks like a Portuguese light cav as well of some sort. So actually, maybe on paper, the Portuguese cav, yeah, it looks scary if you glance at it, but actually I think it might be more than likely it's mostly Portuguese allied cav, which actually is not that scary. It could probably easily be dealt with by the French. Looks like they sent forward on this side the dragoons again. Looks like to try and scare off the French lines, and then they've been routed pretty quickly. The French as well look like they've also have won. I missed it over here, but won a big cav fight with the cuirassiers. It looks like, yeah, they've sent in both these. Well, they've sent in a Polish cuirassier and also the Westphalians. They've won that. Looks like the Brits tried to maybe shoot them up a little bit, but have had no joy there. The Garde du Corps as well, maybe have. I don't really know if they've seen any action, but the French have routed most of the Russian cav, and I think they've called it a day at that, because they're now shifting their entire army back towards the armory. And yeah, they're thinking about maybe, I guess, reorganizing their assault there. It looks like they don't want to just fight on their own against the Russians, and maybe it's potentially a British army as well. It's probably the safest move for the French. Yeah, it's a slow start on this right flank, and it's certainly be very skirmishy on the left. I mean, if you're not fighting for LOCs, if you're not fighting, well, what's just been right there? Oh, okay, okay, they just lost an entire artillery crew as well. It looks like the Russian artillery maybe is just chipped away, sniped out the Bavarian horse artillery there. That's a shame for this 1812 army, because I think it's his Russia Center. I think it's his only artillery piece, and he's lost it just like that. So yeah, not great at all. I possibly would have this Lancer unit just scouting this side of the lines, the infantry. Just maybe you keep an eye and make sure there's no coalition cav just dashing towards your lines, because a lot of these Laguerre cannot form square. Some can, some can't. It's a bit of 50-50, I think. Yeah, it looks like they're going to pivot are the French. And their left is kind of going to just end up around about here. And it looks like they're maybe going to make a bit more of an assault then. I guess if the 1812s of Russia Center's coming here, they're going to maybe make a bit more of an assault on this house. Don't think it's a great idea trying to charge up towards the British lines around there, because the Brits are pretty well dug in. I'd just keep trying to, yeah, force my way right, which is what they're doing. Use these Garde Civil as sort of a screen, keep pushing away there. Looks like the hard line by the Brits is being formed up around here where the stakes are, or whether this is just they're just throwing these down as a last-minute resort. I don't know. British cav seems like it's getting very isolated though. It doesn't seem like there's any infantry over here, so whether the French could maybe take this on soon, I don't know. They've got squarables nearby as well, like the Vistula Legion here. So yeah, they've got some decent squarables, and the 116s as well can all form square. So yeah, I think that's not a bad idea. And you can see the Brits, I think, are being, you know, baited in a little bit. The 116th here, they're moving forward, and yet they're going to form square here. And now I imagine the French cav's going to appear in a minute. And there you go, squares are formed. And in a moment, I think we're going to see French cav pounds. Maybe not. There you go, already orange lining those Portuguese cav there, the light cav. And yeah, that trick worked once, and it was going to be a one-trick thing. It didn't seem like the Peninsula armies were really in position. They've actually just run through their own lines there, which is a bit of a no-no. You shouldn't really do that if you're going to attack someone. So yeah, good that France cancelled it. But yeah, that trick's worked once. It's not going to work again now. The French are going to be aware that the English are going to be aware that these French units on the flank here can mostly all form square. I mean, they definitely will be able to tell with the Vistula Legion. They're very easy to identify on the battlefield, and they're very Polish-looking outfits. And they, yeah, can all form square. Or elites, technically guard units. Really, they're part of the Imperial Guard in various different eras. So yeah, they're not going to be easy to stop, put it like that. They are going to be a bit of a threat for the Brits. Altogether's here having a bit of a rough time. There's artillery as well, so if his artillery has not yet been actually manoeuvred in position. I don't know if he's going to do anything about it. Well, wow, if we can put him through. These Portuguese here, I presume that their bullets are flying over this wall. Looks like there are a few dead here and there. And they are shooting at skirmishes. We've got grenadiers of the Swiss ready to go. Evidently, it seems like the French are still bringing some like decent melee units. They feel like melee is the way that they're going to try and break through this line. Lots of, yeah, look at this. Like, this is just a spam army. It's this like Spanish campaign. Just brought like mass upon mass. His army must be huge. He's got a few like elites of these 94-man units of Visceral Legion, but yeah, it's really just mass. Just sort of, I guess, pin down the British units, which are typically a lot smaller but can shoot their way out of most problems. You can get the odd, like, really large British unit. I mean, the Portuguese often, I mean, this is, I know, UK, Netherlands, but, like, Portuguese are often large units, can often shoot just as well. Yeah, not so much with the, I mean, some of the Dutch units can shoot pretty well. Dutch and Belgian have got some decent light infantry that can shoot almost as well as British. And some of them can form squares, some of them can't. They're definitely the ones you want to target if you're going for cavalry. But cavalry's been nerfed quite a lot in this patch as well, so that's a bit of an issue. But you can see that the Visceral Legion just been kind of avoided by the British cav here. They don't want to engage. More of this Portuguese cav here. It knows that they can form square. They're not going to charge him. The cav, like I said, being nerfed. Charging stuff now is a big risk, it seems. And I don't know. We'll see whether, I don't think he's going to pull this off. It's the French player. It looks like he's rushing a Visceral Legion, whether to try and shoot them, whether he's just trying to bait them in. Don't know what this British player is really doing. Bit of a risk. He needs to move his infantry line forward, his 1809, get his infantry engaged, because right now, I mean, if the Visceral Legion keep turning like this, yeah, the Brits can just get out of there. They're just going to disengage quite easily. There you go. He fires some futile shots as well at the Portuguese cav. But this is a problem for the Brits. They are going to probably be falling back to their state line soon, which I guess they put up to try and counter the French cav. But it looks like the French cav's going pretty wide because it's still having to stay over here. I mean, this is a huge a huge British cavalry corps forming up here, and the French cav's being forced to stay out there with some squares. They could do with keeping their cav all together, really, the French. They've kind of got it stretched out. The Brits, I think, at the moment could win that fight if it came to it. And here's Russia's little bit of cav that we saw right at the beginning of the game that's managed to get in behind some Uhlans here. I think they're just going to wait till the right moment. They're not hidden, obviously. We can see them. We're looking at the French perspective. The French aren't reacting at all. They're not putting any infantry to sort of, like, defend their rear. The cav's not turning around to maybe deal with it as well. Lancer combines here. The Prussian lancers aren't turning around. This general here, Murat, is under threat, essentially. We'll see whether he is moved. But yeah, they probably could get him with the charge, maybe get him. If the French player's not paying attention, he seems like he's microing more with his Laguerre right now, as he tries to set up another line fight with Russia. And it looks like, again, here we go. It looks like, ooh, I thought from maybe France got on with a one Chasseur Cheval. I was going to say, I see routing a routing unit right in the middle, but it's just one little Chasseur Cheval. I thought maybe it was an all-out assault from this French player, but no, not yet. 1809 still pushing forward. Is Visceral Legion still getting closer and closer? Looks like the French are starting to put the... Yeah, starting to really hurt these Portuguese actually in here. The French are... Yeah, look at the bodies. They managed to fire on multiple directions. The Grenadiers here helping out. It looks like those Laguerre arriving, and also the Swiss are starting to really, yeah, put the screw on these French. So those British. Very nice. Yeah, Britain setting up behind the stake line. Looks like that's where they'll hold. What do they go for? I don't even know what the provisional cav went for. It looks like it just got charged into the stakes. Whether it's just trying to slow down the enemy, I'm not really sure. Don't think they got anything. I'm looking for like gun carcasses or anything like that. Don't see any. Yeah, we're not really sure what they went for. Might be the general staff. He looks a little smaller than usual. Might be the general staff. Would have been a nifty little assassination if they had got him. I mean, this seems like a thin British line. If the French could break their way through this, like 1799 right now, definitely maybe give it a go against these Portuguese. That certainly seems like a weak spot to try and break through. I mean, Britain seems like they've got a lot of their troops here, and they've got a lot of Highlanders as well. Like, they're ready for a melee match around the armory. But it seems like France is not catered to that. They've not gone for a melee match. They're going for a shooting match. So yeah, Britain might actually have made a bit of a mistake here with what to bring. Yeah, we've got multiple units of like Scots here that are ready for a melee match, and we're going to see Westphalian cuirassiers here go across the river along with the Saxon Garde du Corps. They look like they're getting ready to swing in from both flanks, go around the stakes as you can see, and they're going to go in and try and smash this Russian line. I think the Black Watch, or well, certainly a Scottish unit, it might be the Black Watch, are getting sent forward to try and, I guess, form up. They'll have squares. They'll try and slow down the British, the French cuirassiers. And here goes the Garde du Corps in, smashing. Looks like a little skirmish unit now going into Russian dragoons here. And there you go. Looks like the Garde du Corps. I imagine they should. Maybe they might not win that fight actually, because squares on the flank, shooting them in the flank. Yeah, it looks like Garde du Corps winning slightly in melee, but whether they're going to win because of the line fights, French infantry might need to get a bit closer. And there you go, Russians going into melee. I think they might have been better just staying in the square and just shooting on the side. These Russian squares doing there. You can see the Westphalian cuirassiers have actually managed to catch the Brits not in square, which is pretty lucky for them. I mean, France, I don't know if these Laguerre really can melee, but they might want to give it a go against the Russians. Polish cuirassiers as well moving up. Yeah, the Westphalian cuirassiers, the red lining, that's not great. There you go, the Russians got broken, the Russian cav, and that's probably going to mean that Russian infantry goes down the drain as well. And yes, these looks like these light infantry are just going to set up and shoot. They're not interested in staying in going into melee. You can see the cuirassiers going to get out of there quite nicely. Still fairly healthy as well. 52 riders left. But this is, I mean, you can see sort of how the Allies have set up, where the guns here is almost like a divide between this Russian army and one British army, and then the other two British armies have kind of moved away from the army, almost splitting themselves. So they need to be careful with the coalition. They don't, just separate themselves. Russia is on the retreat, as you can see. If 1812 Russia Centre can keep pushing the Russians away from UK Netherlands and back towards the army, if they can wrap around them, and they could almost pin them in here, in this small pocket. Yeah, UK Netherlands and the other UK Portugal look like they're quite happy just to sit around this tree line here and just make this their defensive line. And the guns sort of keep these guys connected, and they are, you know, firing over some pretty good ground. Goyor is a very open map. But all it's going to take is one light cav to get in behind. They can do a lot of damage. It's like Lancer Combines staying in the back. I think, yeah, there's Laguerre over here. This Laguerre has been sent all the way back. That Russian, I think that Russian cav is still somewhere loose in the back, but it's been scared off by Russian infantry. They get across the river. I mean, it makes it pretty difficult for the Lancers, for the Russians to do anything. Here goes the Polish Lancers again. Again going into, oh sorry, Polish cuirassiers going into Russian infantry, now charging the Brits. I guess maybe just trying to keep them out of shooting. Not they can really do much. Russian infantry here, also trying to, you know, set up. Here they go. They're going to go for melee as the Russians. This is what they want. They might beat the French and the Laguerre. French Laguerre here. Some of them can melee okay. It's not French, all of it. A lot of it's actually Italians, I think. So we'll see. Yeah, there you go. Look at that. Already routed pretty quickly. I think the Russians, you know, still, you know, can melee pretty damn well. There you go. They're routed. That's a good volley there from the French right last minute into the Russians. But it doesn't matter because they're getting side charged, and that's going to rout them still. And you can see 1812, I think, is evacuating back across the river. He is bitten off more than he can chew. And this position for the Russians and the Brits is going to stand for now. And it also looks like the 6-point France here as well has also had a bit of difficulty. He's managed to push back some of the Brits. Looks like this unit here especially is taking a lot of fire. They can't push much further with that Scottish unit just hiding behind the building right now. They're ready to come out and melee anyone that gets too close. And we're into a proper line fight here. 1799 getting stuck in the Rhine. And also looks like, yeah, it will be, imagine the 1809 with his Guards Civil. They've already lost like 50 shooters. Looks like they've done some damage to these Portuguese and Brits here. The Dutch, I should say, probably, actually. These are Dutch. I think it's the artillery that's probably doing more damage to these, like horse artillery units here. Probably just, canistering, like point blank range. The Brits are either have to charge something forward to try and deal with them. Whether they'll do that, we'll see. Or to get Swiss very cheaply right down the middle of these two artillery units. That's perfectly fine. It's not really breaking any sort of like rules. I mean, this Guard Civil, I'd say maybe needs to move. It's kind of like arty. It's still like on top of the artillery. I forgot what the term is, but yeah, this altogether right down the middle is very cheap. It's technically is fine. I think also these infantry here. I think these technically get arty embedding. That's what it is. They need to be out of the actual unit. Like that includes the train behind them. Bit of a no-no in NTW3. Some of these 1799 units have clearly had enough fighting the Brits in a line fight. Don't blame them. It's not really what they're there for. It's not how France is built. This was a melee. But yeah, you'll see probably now a lot more in this new patch 9.6. We'll see a lot more like French builds that built on shooting, and like I said, a lot more British like coalition forces as well. Probably Britain. Might see Denmark quite a bit, I guess, for the Imperials, because obviously they're kind of anti-Britain, pretty good at shooting. So yeah, you might see a lot of those. These factions a lot more. And it looks like Britain's sending over cavalry here now to replace the Russian losses. We have got the Lancer combines, Prussians here moving forward. It looks like we're going to have a bit of a cav fight here. Looks like a little allied cav unit, maybe it looks like a Prussian one or something like that. Well, not Prussian, it'll be like a German state. Not quite sure who. Maybe a Dutch Lancer, something like that, or a Belgian one, I'm not sure. But there you go. In more goes more allied light cav as well. So they might rout the Garde du Corps. Yeah, they have. They've had clearly too much fighting of the Garde du Corps. I mean, they were down to like 30 odd riders. They've finally had enough. Looks like the Russians were just putting a volley in, making sure those guys stay routed. And yeah, this 1812 faction really, is starting to struggle. It's running out of cav. It's got one cuirassier left by the looks of it. It's got the Westphalians. It's going to maybe have to call upon the Chasseur Cheval here. Because I think, the cuirassier, Polish cuirassier here, I think they might have routed just from long fighting against the Brits and the Russians in the front line. But yeah, this Russian cav here is starting to sniff about in the back lines. That's going to be a problem for the 1812 faction. And he's now, having to have troops look behind instead of look forward. He's almost kind of turtling up himself. That could be a problem. Here comes Britain as well now. Oh, actually, I'll say Britain. It's just their Cheval. And it's got in, actually got the guns here. I just realized Britain's sending in some cabs to try and rout it. But the French cav has actually gone in, routed them all with guns. Kind of missed that. But it kind of worked in a way. I don't know if it was part of the plan, but the French pushed up here, baited in this cav. And then it meant that cav wasn't guarding his guns, I guess. Maybe it was all part of a greater plan. Building captured there by the French. I guess that's actually what the Laguerre was going to do. Wasn't really scaring off Russian cav at all. They didn't know where it was, so they just went and captured the LOC. It looks like Russia's going in once again for another melee charge here. They won another round with those Laguerre. They might get it here. And there you go, silent melee going on. These guys fighting in the silence. They don't want to whispering at each other instead of war cries. And Russia's getting routed. Not once, but probably twice as these guys redline. One's coming up as well, a redlining. Maybe they're just slowing down the French, not allowing them to shoot the Black Watch, or one of these Highlander units to come up. Looks like that might be the case. Like I said, though, I think Britain's got the wrong idea bringing all these Scots. But here we go. In go the Scots. They're going to try and melee their way through. They're orange and redlining already. I just don't think, like people I've played with just said melee does not work now. And there you go, look at that. I mean, I think they're routing more because of the Russians than because melee doesn't really work so much. And this British unit here, this looks like a guard unit. It certainly looks, fairly elite. Usually they're more like white on the front. Usually it's like indication of guards, the Brits. They're fighting in here. I think they might do almost better being charged themselves. I think that's technically the case. You don't necessarily want to be the one doing the charging. You want to be the one being charged, because you get a volley off at the last minute, and you also it seems like you just do better. But there you go. I mean, I think the Les Barons there, they routed their own allies. the Italian allies there, and also routed the Brits, so they just kind of got rid of everything. There you go. France held. 1812 held. Looks like there's been more charged over here. The Grenadiers, Swiss charging, and actually we're going to see the Scots have a bit more joy, it seems, here. But like I'm saying, you kind of want to be the one doing the charge, and the Swiss Grenadiers went in, got forced back, and now it looks like we've got British Guards, well not Guards, but Highlanders now charging, and they're actually getting a bit of joy routing these line infantry for the Swiss. And it's clearly being effective. It looks like we've got a foot guard here. Looks like it might be the kiddies, like the Scots guard. They're routing some infantry here. Can they get any more? Maybe they just know when to call it quits, which I think they are doing. You can see they're falling back. I imagine if these Scots win, they'll also retreat, but I don't think they will. And here goes France. They're going to try and respond. They have broken a few units here at 1799. Now they're putting in cavalry battalion going after the Russians. Yeah, these Russians didn't form square, and I don't think the Brunswick Grenadiers can either. So that's going to be a bit of a problem. If they rout the Russians here, they might be able to roll up this line a little bit. Whether 1799 wants to think about pushing the infantry forward, maybe getting a bit closer, I don't know. France is going to withdraw the infantry, withdraw the cavalry. Didn't break the Russians quickly enough. It shows kind of how the cavalry's just a bit nerfed at this point. Just a little nerf. It looks like Britain's actually sending his cav down this road here, and looks like he's going to try and hit the Laguerre in the flank. And yeah, it looks like Britain's going in with the Highlanders in this direction now. He's going to try and pincer the French, and yeah, nice little move there from the Portuguese. Cav getting into the side while the Highlanders charge in the front, routing more of these light infantry. Looks like the Westphalians also coming forward, maybe going to try and rout that Portuguese cav. But even if they rout, I think it's a really good move. These Highlanders kind of were a little bit spent. Portuguese cav's nothing that expensive. And if he routs one infantry, it's almost the same cost, I think. We'll see. Yeah, the Westphalian Piastres here. I mean, I just, like, if you can pin them in melee with something, shoot them here with the British infantry, side shot them. They'll do just fine. That's exactly how you get rid of the French, like, heavies. And here we go, more Highlanders being sent in and, trying to stop the French here. Really, really nice to see the Scots in a lot of action here. Yeah, look how many Scots there are in this battle. So many Highlanders. Yeah, one of these Anglo-Portuguese armies just brought, it looks like a lot of Highlanders, and was like, I will melee their French even if melee does not technically work. This player over here has definitely gone for more of the shooting build. Good job he did, because there's a lot of Guard Civil, just large French units that are just, gonna be, take a while to chip down. But yeah, it looks like the French are slowly getting taken out. This 1812 player is pretty much spent. Looks like a few more of his Laguerre just got to go. Looks like, yeah, the Highlanders and the Scots Guards, I think the Scots Guards going in. Yeah, just doing the right thing, getting a volley off and then charging melee, which seems like the only way you can really get any sort of definitive success in melee. You got to get a good volley first, then melee in, which they've done. Done very well. And the Russians, they're just shooting the back of their own Brits. Clearly this Anglo-Russian alliance doesn't go very far. They're quite happy to betray each other. Looks like British cav, well not British, Portuguese cavs just getting a little bit too excited, and yeah, charging Swiss lines against the square. So these cavs just seen quite a bit of action. He probably needs to rest up. You've repulsed a lot of French infantry, doesn't mean you necessarily won the fight just yet. It's about an easy turn, quite easily. Jacques Millet here with his Bourbon Dragoons. Looks like he's going to win a very key, not necessarily a key fight, but he's certainly winning a cav fight. Looks like he's routing, looks like maybe a Hussar unit. I mean, there is a straight shot if they have a light cav or something for the Russian artillery here. Straight shot to go and get it all, but there is a fair amount of British cav now just appearing out of the woodwork. Looks like actually the French are going to go in with the, well, they were maybe thinking about it. Looks like they were thinking about going in with the Dragoons there, maybe going to try and rout this Anglo-Dutch line, which is looking very fragile right now. The Russian general might want to think about maybe moving himself elsewhere. I mean, the Russians are pretty low as well. They've got, what, 2 infantry units, a few guns. That seems like it's about it for them. Then they've got that sneaky little Russian cav in the back lines over there that's, you know, could be very important late game. We see more melee over here. It's not Scots, but it's Redcoats fighting Redcoats. The Swiss are engaged here, and they've actually managed to rout the Brits. Finally, it looks like the 6-pointer might clear Britain out of the armory, so that's a bit of a win there for the Imperials if they're going for an LOC victory. They've got the armory to themselves. The Brits have gone in with the heavies here, and it looks like they're going to have a lot of joy. They're actually trying to run down this horse artillery. They are pulling out on melee. It's a bit cheeky, not really supposed to do this, I don't think. And yeah, you can see the Brits, I think they've overrun it, maybe because they can't run it down, I don't know. So they've just gone in for infantry instead, which you know what, they've kind of gone past the artillery. If they're not going to stop the artillery and let it be run down, which it was supposed to be fair and square, the heavies have gone in now and routed. Looks like a Guard Civil, which is definitely not worth the cost of that heavy, well, that Dragoon, which is technically a heavy cav, which is why I call it heavy Dragoons. And you can see the French Dragoons. Just going to make sure those British cabs stay gone. There you go. I mean, the French line's also looking a bit thin in the centre, but it doesn't seem like there's much in the way of like British infantry here that we can see. Looks like from where the shots are firing, these are skirmishes in the woods mostly. There are a few British lines here. And actual British troops as well with their redcoats. Where they could just shoot the, I was going to say shoot the crew out. It's 7 crew members left. There's only 1 gun being used. Yeah, where they could just, you know, shoot the crew down. I mean, they could also just rush forward. I mean, this tiny little cav unit here would have been maybe better for the job if you're going to send in something to try and get arty assassinations off. Quite a few French artillery pieces here that need getting rid of, and all of them are horse artillery as well. There's another one there from 1799, and an Italian foot artillery actually. This one is, and I think is 1809 as well. Yeah, I think here we go. Britain's going to try and assassinate one of them. They are just now unlimbering it. Bad timing there by 1799. Whether they'll get it in time, I don't know. Yeah, I think they're going to be fine. British are going to get routed. Looks like the gun crew's going to survive. The carriages, I think, are also going to be fine. Yeah, I think this is it's not a bug, but it's a bit of a disadvantage. Charging the horse artillery as it's dismounting is actually pretty much just like safe for the horse artillery, especially if like the cav just breaks like that for the coalition. The horse artillery will just be fine. It just seems to shrug it off. It's such a weird thing. I don't really like it. The Scots still in here, still fighting away against the Swiss now. Yeah, these Scots have seen a lot of action. Whether they're just going to side charge with the kiddies here or just side shoot. There you go. The Swiss just try to pull out of melee, I just want to say. They tried to pull out melee there. Failed. I think it is still Brits in the house, though. It hasn't got a French marker over it. So, yeah, I think it's still Brits in there. So, maybe they don't hold the armory, just get the French. And there you go. In goes the Russian cav. There's been a menace in the back lines for 1812. And instead it's going to straight on charge into the center of the 6-point line. It's going to get a reaction from the 6-point as well. It's going to step forward. It looks like some Prussian hussars potentially, I think these are. No, Chasseurs Cheval, maybe also Prussian hussars. Yeah, they are. Hussar and Lieb. Yeah, they look like life hussars for the Prussians. Yeah, he's actually just dashing on it. He's still going deep, and he's going to try and maybe go for the Scots here, maybe? I guess the Chasseurs Cheval. It's definitely over-committed. It's like, oh, how did we get here? I just go for the gens now. If you can, this cav's just got to dash in, go for these Russian and British generals. We are seeing another cavalry clash over here as well in the centre. As we have 1799. What's he fighting? I don't even know what he's fighting down here. Oh, is it? It's British Guards. That's for sure. Life Guards of Britain. And Britain's like, yeah, Anglo-Dutch Life Guards there routing. Looks like more sort of like dragoons there for the Brits. Going to win, and it looks like the Chasseurs Cheval did not make it. They didn't make it to a general somehow. That's impressive, and the French should now lose this cav fight in the centre, I'd imagine. They're kind of spent already. These are fresh dragoons going into Britain. Here comes 1799, sending in there's Bell's moustache, the large moustaches. Actually, everything routed. Every cav unit routed. That's not great for the Brits, but they might return. We'll see. Over on this side as well, another big cav fight going on. Looks like Britain is losing this one. It is really just Portuguese cav, I think, here, dueling against Chevaliers Westphalians. So yeah, it looks like against mostly allied cav by looks of it for the French. Actually, the dragoons there lost against, I think those are, yeah, Portuguese allied cav. So that is surprising. And Chevaliers kind of getting pulled through by the British player there. I don't know if he intentionally meant to do that. And there you go, one of the British cav routed for that. So both sides losing out. And it looks like if the Chevaliers chase after this British cav unit, they'll probably rout that too. And really, I think Britain should have won that. Yeah, and there you go. France has unintentionally won that fight. That should not have happened, really. Britain, I think, in a 2-on-1 should have ended up winning that fight. A long melee as well against a Lancer. General's been killed. That looks like just from artillery, maybe. I think that might just be from French artillery. Looking at how the generals, like the forces have just dropped. So yeah, that's UK Netherlands now without a general, and to be fair, he's pretty low on infantry, and it's starting to dwindle. You see, starting to rout. Red line, orange line, not good at all. The dragoons here have returned for UK Portugal as well. Russia is going to dismount his general, whether that's out of safety of not being shot by artillery, or whether he's thinking about putting it in a LOC. I'm not really sure. There's not really any nearby over here. Yeah, I think it might be just more out of safety. But there you go. As you can see, the Allied line is starting to crumple. This this Russian unit here coming forward, coming to again assist the Scots that are still dug in around the armory here. They are not giving up this armory too easy. There's still 2 Scottish units here. This one's healthy as well, and these are UK Portuguese, and they, as far as I'm aware, still all have their generals. And I think this is just this is the kiddies. These are all like either Guard or Highlander units. Taking on a 6-pointer, I wouldn't put it past them to rout most of these guys. Yeah, UK Netherlands now falling back. Looks like he's retreating quite away. Looks like France has actually managed to get himself in a melee here. Looks like another general's died. Oh, France managed to get this one. And that is definitely like they've just managed to take him out. UK Portugal there on this flank now has no general. So that's the left flank here, and they're collapsing already as it is. I think he was just maybe trying to fall it back, and maybe didn't realize that this French cav is just way in behind. And there you go. That's a collapse of the British left there, and they're still healthy units as well. Probably should have realized that the music was up and started retreating when he lost that cav fight. Maybe just to try to get his infantry back. But yeah, the Polish Visual Legion here, along with the Guard Civil, looks like have done their job meleeing their way through. Looks like it's, yeah, mainly the Visual Legion that I think have probably done most of the meleeing. Some of these other units might have as well, but yeah, I'd imagine they were the heavy lifters, along with maybe this cav on the flanks, if not just being a threat there. But there you go, the main coalition line is starting to break and shatter. Whether much will return. The last few outcrops of resistance are those Scots. And yeah, I mean, the UK Netherlands as well is extracting itself. I mean, this is the general, I think, for the Scottish troops. Maybe also this Dragoon unit here. He's trying to get himself back. I don't think there's any houses you can, put yourselves in here. So yeah, they've got a long walk if they want to try and get themselves to a place to sort of... Well, I think it's just this one here, really, that is the closest one that they can get to the British player, whether he's going to go all the way around this building and then just try and walk into the armory, maybe try and make himself safe there. The British player keeping his infantry behind the house, so they have to assault that first. Probably a smart idea. Don't know where he's going. Oh, is he going that LOC way over there, I think, isn't he? That Scottish unit, I think, is going to go try and get rid of the 7th E Laguerre. See where they can do that. I think it is going to come down to LOC, which if that's the case, UK and also France are both 1 up. I think also, yeah, as you can see, there's well, I'd say British unit going for its cav. They won't be able to help take it. Portuguese cav here looks like it's re-rallied, being chased by hussars. So yeah, I mean, they're going to, I guess, try and invest it. They're not going to be able to. Whether the UK Netherlands will dash for it, and then there'll be 2-1 up. As you can see, France is just farming right now. 1809 farming those kills. The Visual Legion is pretty healthy as well. Yeah, he's just got his lines really thin, so he can just maximize the amount of kills he gets. So yeah, if you see his kills at the end, they're probably a little bit inflated, a little bit exaggerated in what he actually did. They've been in a bit of a line fight for a long, long time with those 1809. It's not really done much more than that. There you go. I think the Russian general's just going to get mowed down here from the 6-pointer. Who, you know, credit to him. He's done a fair job. He pinned down a lot of troops in this armory here for a long, long time. It's actually Russia in the building. It's not a British unit. So that could be interesting if the Russian general is to get shot to pieces here in a moment. And that Russian player might be thinking he should have kept his general mounted, because I think, yeah, he's about to get charged here by Swiss line infantry. And yeah, the music is up for the Russian general. But yeah, it looks like with the Russian general about to die, I mean, if they level the building, that's technically LOC still held by the coalition, but I don't think they'll need to. Just level it a little bit, get it at half strength potentially. It's at 36% on one side, so just damage it a fair amount. Get the Russians down to like half strength. Looks like Britain's sending in its heavy cav here. Seen an opportunity with the Swiss, not in square, but it looks like they might have formed. Maybe? No, I'm not. Yeah, I think they did. Maybe. I'm not really not sure. That one certainly has formed square. The other one might have as well, but just done it really jankily. Yeah, there you go. These guys redline in. But yeah, they might route their own Swiss infantry there as well. There you go. The heavy cap's gone. It's already gone once, so it's never going to be as effective the second time. Yeah, they nearly route their own Swiss infantry there. Yeah, 6-pointer, credit to them, has done a lot of work. You know, it actually is interesting to see their kills at the end. But I imagine they've got some decent kills. They've just ruled quite nicely with the Brits in some areas. They pushed them back a little bit, then got pushed back themselves. They killed quite a lot of Portuguese, as you can see over here in this sort of complex around the armory. At 80%, that building's probably going to collapse soon. The other half is 17%, so I don't know if you can still storm that half if the other part's on 80%. I don't know if that's technically how it works. It operates as 2 separate buildings. But that part's on 100% now, so whether they can still go in this half, they might be able to. But I don't know if there's actually any units now in there. The Russians might have been all killed with the building collapsed. Which, if that's the case, it's technically now 1-0 to the Imperials, but the Brits could quite easily level it back up by putting the Scots in there. And it looks like, yeah, UK Netherlands is dashing. I think he's dashing down this road and then going to try and go up the road and try and get the farmhouse here. We'll see. Britain also has got a unit that's re-rallied here, a little red coat unit that's just going to try and, I guess, get in the building. Whether they'll hold, because it has no general, this army. They might just get taken out. I mean, 3v1. And one of them is a Vistula Legion. These guys are, you know, primed for melee, that's for sure. We'll just fast forward a little bit as we wait for sort of like, you know, the death knoll to come for the Allies here, because it is pretty clear, I think, at this point that the French are probably going to win. It's been a fairly close match, quite fairly back and forth. There's still a good amount of French here. It's not the closest battle I've ever covered. Nothing will ever come quite as close to the Battle of Schalitz, which, if you've not seen, is by far and away the closest battle I have ever covered on NTW3, coming down to pretty much the last unit. But yeah, this is still a pretty close one. The French are pretty battered. The British, certainly at certain points, pushed back the French. But the Russians, I feel like, capitulated pretty quickly. I think they were a strange build to bring. It was an interesting build, and he lost a lot of cav early on, which is, I think, what he invested his money into. There you go. That's the general gone. Is that Russia's general? I think has died. I think they routed him. But I then don't think they actually killed him. I think the only general left is that Anglo-Portuguese one, which I don't think's over. I think it's probably over here. But as you can see, the Brits have all formed square, and they're just going to be caught, I imagine, by melee. I think also looks like the French managed to get into this building. They beat the Brits to it, or they caught the Brits on the road. And now it's just dealing with these last few units, going into melee. Are the Vistula Legion, and then go the Chevaliers as well. They're just going to run these guys down. They just need to now route this last square, but they should be able to do. I mean, these units are probably going to mass route, probably through units routing around them, and also army losses. So we'll see, but I don't think the Chevaliers are going to have much say in it. They're just going to provide a few kills for those Brits, but I mean, yeah, they're red line. They need to get out of there. The Vistula line infantry needs to get in there and just do their last bit. And then I think it also looks like over here the Highlanders got dealt with as well. So yeah, that's that. The Highlanders put up a good fight, but yeah, not good enough. And it looks like the last unit is way over here, and that is the Highlander unit. They are going for this building that the Les Barons hold. Looks like they're going to come out of the building. Maybe a better idea, so they don't get easy meleeed, and then they can maybe form up in a line. I don't know. Maybe they're not going to do that. No, they're going back in. They've changed their minds. They're going back in the building. It's probably a better idea, to be honest. And yeah, we'll go back to fast forwarding. I think everything's dead over on that side there. He's now just waiting to see whether this this Highlander can take the building. If he does, technically, I guess it's 1-0 LOC. Well, actually, no, it's 1-1 and what LOC, because the French never occupied the other one. I don't know if it's actually intact for them to take it. So it will be 1-1 and technically finishes the draw, but we'll see. But yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this battle. It's certainly been a fun one. I really do enjoy checking out these NTW3 battles. Like I said, Napoleonics, my favorite period, I think, by far and away for Total War. And there you go, yeah, easy route for the Scots being routed there by the French. And I think we should have end results any second now. But yeah, this one was sent in by Robocop Gamer, who's playing as one of the, I think he's playing as 1812 he was. So like the Laguerre spam, so he had the last laugh, I guess. He lost most of his army. There you go. That other Anglo-Portuguese army general did go all the way over here, it seems, towards his Highlanders. But yeah, his army certainly got kind of trounced, so to say, by the Russians and the sort of the Scots spam. But he did do a decent amount of damage. I mean, we'll hopefully have all the kills on the screen so you can have a look. I mean, I think it was 1809 kind of farmed a little bit, so you could say his kills are a little bit inflated, but both sides getting some really good kills. It's a close game for both sides. So yeah, well done to everyone that took part. Cookie Jar Muncher, Robocop Gamer, Frederick III, Garen Stearns, Pujic, Oliver 111, Hankman, and also Clarky 63. They all played really good games, and yeah, got some good kills. So have a quick look at Robocop's kills. His Laguerre here, his Italian Laguerre, getting 207 kills is not too shabby. His Les Barons, 155. Garde du Corps Saxons getting 153 kills. The Westphalian Cav, 118. 104 kills with his Les Barons there, and then you can see the rest of the kills if you want to see them. I'm surprised he didn't bring any light cav. Like, his heavy cav spam was great, but he didn't get any support from any of his allies with light cav, which probably could have helped him in some of these fights, because I feel like his heavy cav had to see a bit more action than like early on than you'd have maybe hoped for. Like, you kind of want to leave them for like the piece de resistance, like the battle clinching move. Or at least turn the battle so far in your favor. But they didn't really do that. They kind of just got thrown in and swarmed by Russians and Brits, and then didn't really do a lot. They killed a couple of cav units off, but nothing too insane. But there you go, guys. That is today's NTW3 battle. If you did enjoy and want to see more, do remember to leave a like, subscribe if you're around here, and comment to show support. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.